Morning. Morning to everybody. Is that too loud? I heard echo. Good morning to everybody here and online. Thank you all for joining us today for our town hall meeting. We will have a question and answer period at the end, so please hold your questions until that time. Online, you can type your questions in through the chat feature. That's what we've enabled. Okay, through the chat feature, and we will read and answer those questions at the end. So we have opened an exciting new chapter in our organization's history. We've gathered today to share some of the transformative developments that will enhance how we serve our 115 communities and strengthening our commitment to environmental stewardship. Municipal Wastehub, formerly known as MRC, is proud to host this town hall to review recent developments, current operations, and our vision for the future. We believe this update will significantly benefit all members and the public that we serve. Next slide. Oh, yeah. There's slide one that I just spoke to. So we'll go to the next slide, please. All right. As you may have noticed, April brought our first major change of the year, our new name, Municipal Wastehub. This name wasn't chosen lightly. Wastehub perfectly captures who we are and what we do, stewarding the municipal solid waste, or MSW, of our 115 main communities. By processing our MSW collectively, we achieve greater efficiency and productivity than any single community could accomplish alone. We are one voice, 115 members strong. I want to emphasize that while our name changed, our commitment remains unwavering. Municipal members will experience absolutely no disruption to their waste management services. The core of our mission stays firmly intact, streamlining affordable waste management processes, supporting sustainability efforts, fostering collaboration among all our municipal partners. The name Municipal Wastehub recognizes the vital importance of the essential service that we provide, not just managing waste, but transforming it into an opportunity for environmental and economic benefit. I'll now turn the presentation over to Kevin. Yes, Kevin, to talk about facility updates and current operations.
Okay, great. Thanks, Aaron. So I'm very excited to announce that in April we did reopen the Municipal Waste Solutions facility in Hampton as a transfer station. So that marks the beginning of our ramp up to full operations. We believe we're on track to achieve full operations in the front end of the facility, which includes sorting, screening, baling of recyclable commodities by the fourth quarter of this year. Some of the key items that we've already accomplished are, as we talked about previously, we installed the fire rover, which is a great piece of safety equipment. The first pieces of, I'll call it, new equipment related to the front of the facility are being delivered in the next few weeks. The bag openers that we previously ordered had to be modified, and so those are on their way to the facility. Should be here shortly. And we've also, brought up staffing to allow us to handle those operations, including both equipment operators and some management to help us oversee the facility. So right now we're conducting a thorough review and characterization of the incoming waste, which is a critical step to allow us to improve waste separation at the source, to ensure the materials arriving at the facility aren't contaminated with problematic items like lithium batteries, tires, mattresses, etc. And so, again, very excited. I think we are taking our first steps to getting up and running, and looking forward to executing on that for the rest of the year.
I guess it's my turn now. So looking forward, we'll go over the initiatives that we've been creating and working on. The first one is our hub and spoke model. Now let me share something truly exciting, our hub and spoke model that will revolutionize waste management in Maine. Municipal Waste Solution has been working with certain strategically located member transfer stations. These transfer stations will serve as regional spokes connected to our central hub at the plant in Hamden, which will operate under the Municipal Waste Solutions banner. These hub and spokes infrastructure will allow us to offer a much wider range of services for virtually all types of waste and recyclables, and will enable us to optimize truckloads and logistics. With hub and spokes, we can efficiently transport and process recyclables, construction and demolition waste, and bulky items, tires, and much more, creating a truly comprehensive waste management solution. The next item we're really excited to talk about is a transportation division. We have implemented hub and spokes. Our partner, Innovative Resource Recovery, has added dedicated transportation division to their operation in Hamden. And this is a genuine game changer for us. Innovative has acquired an impressive fleet of 15 tractors and 20 trailers. This significant investment in rolling stock will work seamlessly to connect the Hamden hub with the spokes, members' regional transfer station locations, to efficiently and economically move waste and recyclables throughout the hub and spoke network. Beyond the operational advantages, the hub and spokes transportation solution creates a valuable synergies among members by significantly reducing our collective carbon footprint through optimizing routing and full capacity loads. And finally, Jayco acquisition. This is a significant development in waste hubs in pending acquisitions at zero cost of Jayco. Jayco is the former International Paper Mill Disposal Site in Jay. Maine DEP permitted the Jayco site for construction and demolition debris known as C&D and for treating wastewater, which I'll go into in a minute. The pending purchase of Jayco includes the funds needed to maintain, ultimately to close the site when that becomes necessary. The Jayco site is a tremendous value to the Municipal Waste Hub organization. This deal will be structured that Municipal Waste Hub will own the permitted C&D site and wastewater treatment facility through its acquisition of Jayco. Waste Hub experienced partner Innovative Resource Recovery will be responsible for the day-to-day operations and will assume all liabilities of the site. Similar to the arrangement we currently have made with Municipal Waste Solutions here in Hamden. As I mentioned, the Jayco property includes a wastewater treatment facility. We're exploring its potential in helping Maine communities deal with its PFAS. We also plan to utilize the Jayco site as one of our transfer station spokes to direct waste and recyclables to the hub in Hamden. Jayco site also offers capacity for construction and demolition debris disposal, grinding wood debris, and other environmental services. Jayco will not use the site to accept out-of-state waste of any kind. Waste Hub's acquisition of Jayco site and the efficiencies the site affords will support Waste Hub's efforts to achieve and exceed Maine's 50% recycling goal. Next slide. Member feedback. Over the past year, while the MSW Hamden facility has been in excellent hands with Innovative Resource Recovery working towards a restart, the Municipal Waste Hub team has been extraordinarily busy. We have visited all our member communities, created focused discussion groups, conducted member surveys, and performed thorough due diligence. Your feedback was consistent and clear. You wanted improved transportation solutions, more accessible collection points to increase recycling, decrease tip rates and disposal of other types of waste beyond the MSW in ways that are both environmentally friendly and economical. We are here to tell you today that we listened and we're executing on your recommendations. The developments I've shared today are a direct result of your input and our commitment to meeting your needs. We've always prioritized transparency with our members, and this town hall is another example of that commitment. We believe in keeping you informed and involved in every step of the way as we evolve to improve. To summarize, we rebranded as Municipal Waste Hub to better reflect our mission. We've reopened the Hampton facility as a transfer station while working towards full operations later this year. We're implementing an innovative hub and spoke model with dedicated transportation solutions, and we've acquired the JCO site with its valuable infrastructure at no cost. These developments position Municipal Waste Hub to serve you better than ever with greater efficiency, expanded services, and continued commitment to environmental responsibility. Thank you all for your continued partnership, and we trust in your trust in our organization. Together, we're building a more sustainable future for Maine communities. Now, I'd be happy to turn it over to the folks that have attended for any questions on these exciting developments. If you're on, we'll start with the people here present, and then we'll move to the people online. And we just asked you direct your questions to a board member or to one of the staff, and we'll do our best to answer. So let's start with, see if anybody here has any questions.
Transportation division, can you expand on that, and how is that going to change? For instance, for Trenton and MDI, will that still involve taking the trash to EMR? Will there be a way for, especially for Trenton, to get it instead of backtracking twice?
So this is gonna give, oh. So the question was, how's the transportation division gonna affect the members? If it's gonna give the members another option for transportation needs. So for cost, if they can put trailers right at their site and build the trailers, it just gives them, like, where you're located, you don't have many options for transportation. I think there's only one vendor. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is gonna give people more options that, yes, so if it makes more sense and cost effective to put a trailer at those sites and transport it directly to the site, then that would be an option.
Directly at the EMR site or in
Directly
Trenton?
to the Hampton site
Where would,
Trenton,
from Trenton.
so you'd have a place in Trenton to put the trash. Sorry, how would you collect it in Trenton?
Okay, do you have curbside or a transfer station?
So,
transfer station?
Oh, yeah.
But what we're worried about is why it has to go from Trenton down to Southwest Harbor 13 miles, back up through Trenton to
Right.
Hampton.
So that would be a visit, and we look at what your logistical needs are and see if there's anything to do with the transportation business.
I'm sure there are other towns that have similar issues.
That's why this was such a big development for us. We didn't have those options to help our members before. And having those trucks and trailers to be able to do that now we can explore those efficiencies at each individual town.
But
Every situation is a little different.
We can't park a truck in Trenton and have people take it there and then the truck go, right?
We don't know that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We just received the equipment, so this is where we start to explore those efficiencies. We just didn't have that option before, so that's why we're really excited about it, because as members bring up these kinds of inefficiencies, which clearly that is, we can explore that to see how we can help them.
which part of this body would be exploring?
So the question is who will be doing who will be looking at the efficiencies and
So
opportunities?
I go out and visit all the members. I visited 2 folks last year, and I plan on, now that this piece is over, coming around and looking at what we can do to help service you.
So when you come to visit us on the 23rd, you'll have more info.
I hope to. 23rd is pretty close, so.
Can you talk more about processing? I assume there's gonna be digester and also mechanical sorting of recyclables.
Yeah, so right now
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, sure. He asked if we could talk more about the processing. And so, we've obviously started operations as a transfer station right now, which is really more an exercise in understanding the waste that's being brought in, making sure we're getting the communities informed on what materials need to be kept out that would basically negatively impact the facility. We're also now in the process of, and we expect by the fourth quarter of this year, to bring in the front end, which is the mechanical sorting you're talking about. So we expect to pull out your traditional recyclables, so your cans, your metals, your plastics, things like that. And then the AD will be following that. And so that's where the digestion comes in, but that's a bigger project, has a little bit more lead time. So that's, we're doing it in phases, because each phase informs the next. And so that's the general, I'll call it progression of how we're turning things on.
And I know the original fiber plant, I think they would wash some of the waste. And then there would be the wastewater. And they talked about reusing a lot of that water, but, is that a similar process going to happen in this plant? Or?
Certainly not on the front end side. We're not going to wash anything, so there's really not wastewater involved. On the digester side, yes, you do use water to effectively turn it into a slurry that can then be digested. But the vast majority, if not all of that water is, again, recycled. So there's very minimal wastewater coming out of the facility, even as a digester.
And I think what you're talking about is that process, to break down the fibers to make that fiber pulp. And that's definitely, that huge volume of water is not being used in this process.
So that'll be different than.
Yes.
Yeah, the fiber collection is not even gonna be there.
Right.
Other questions?
All right. Do you have a diagram or a picture of how things would work in the front?
So we're working right now to develop some really great material that the public can kind of graphically see how the waste moves through, how it gets sorted, how we end up with the organic material at the end. We don't have that complete, but we're working on it, right?
Yeah, we've been it's just going into a year anniversary. We hired a company. We're doing that material. We've actually done a video production. And that is we're going to the final stage of the first draft of that production. The wording and what they call a storybook has all been gone through and edited.
That'd be very helpful.
Yeah, people are very visual, so it helps to have that process laid out in pictures so that they can see how it moves through. But yeah, we will get there. We have done quite a few tours in the facility, and at the end of it, we received that feedback that it's just overwhelming, everything they just learned. And is there a nice, easy 1-2 pager they can walk away with? So we have been working on that along with the video, the company that helped us come up with the Wastehub name, Municipal Wastehub, helping us with that as well. So yeah, you can expect some really nice material once we get it done. Okay. Thanks for that question. Anything else here?
And as far as odors, is there a plan on how to manage that?
You want me to repeat the question?
The question was around odors. Yeah, we have a very substantial odor scrubber that was already put into place in the facility. And so that's the way we will address that.
We've been taking waste now, and the odor scrubber is operating.
We'll go online. If you guys think of something else, we can come back to you at the end.
Is there anything online, Barbara?
Yes. Would you like to know who's asking the question too?
Sure.
Jackie Elliott asks, is Wastehub competing or collaborating with Casella's operations in Maine and the region? Does the statement about not accepting out-of-state waste include the definition that imported waste becomes Maine waste once processed in a facility? Will manifest be kept as to origins of waste produced and disposed of in Maine facilities?
People online can see that.
So we are not working with Casella on any projects, if that answers the question. Casella is a transporter and they do come into facility. So if there's any schedule changes in the facility or anything like that, we do let Casella's dispatch know of that information. Our facility is only permitted for MSW and we're not permitted to take any out of state waste. So we're not bringing in residuals of any type that are processed anywhere else. If we do record all waste by origin, when it comes from the scale. So who the waste is being charged to and the origin that it comes from is required.
Thank you, Jackie. We appreciate that question.
Yes, thank you, Jackie. Any other ones?
Anything else here? Any
Oh,
questions?
I do have one
Oh, okay.
from an anonymous attendee.
Right.
How do you want material prepared? Now we separate recyclables before delivering it to your transfer station.
That is a question for whatever municipality you are with. If you're bringing stuff to a transfer station and they are sorting those items there, then they will be the ones that will make the decision if they're going to continue sorting those items or not. That is totally up to your community and what their transfer station requires.
That's really the nice thing about the contracts that we have with our municipalities. We give them the leeway to handle waste in a fashion that works for their members, their residents. We can't handle waste all in and do that recycling at the facility. But if communities feel that it's important to source separate, then we let them do that as well. It's not a violation of their contract. Thank you for that question.
Before things failed years ago, my town did one bin all in with the understanding. And I believe that the recycling rate will increase drastically with everything going. Yet we have recyclers that will recycle no matter what, and we have the other stream that people will not recycle no matter what. So the one bin all in, also all together for us.
And every municipality has a different budget, you know, I mean, that they're trying to work within, so. Even if they choose to source separate and they have residents who don't source separate. That material is still gonna come to us, be put through our process, and those recyclable materials will be pulled out, and that organic waste will end up in the digester, creating renewable natural gas, so it's really a win-win. And if the town feels they can't do that source separation and have the overhead that comes along with that, then it'll all come to our facility with the same result. So it really is a great workable solution for our members.
Bob, you got a comment and a question. Our community separates at the source, and we actually send our recyclables to another entity. I'm not happy about it. That's what we think. So, but had we sent the separated recyclables to Hampton, back in the day, I believe there would have been a special rate just for recyclables, excluding trash. Is that still gonna be the case?
So I want to touch on a couple of points to this topic. Yes, the current member contracts do receive a discount to tip rate if they sign a contract for their recycling with the facility. So that is still implemented into their contracts. So their MSW contracts that they have with us does have language in it that say they get a special rate for tipping their recyclables at the facility. And just to touch on Aaron's point, so remember, your towns all have commercial businesses too that go to a lot of your transfer stations that the recycle doesn't get pulled out of. Our permit requires we pull 50% recycled for use. So even if you're separated, we are going to get an additional 50% out of your MSW. And the great thing, that I don't want to get in weeds on all that, is with the EPR program coming, towns being entitled to EPR rebates, even if you're not sorting anything, we are gonna provide you data on an annual basis that tells you what we pull out of your waste, so that you can apply for those EPR rebates. And EPR stands for Standard Producer Responsibility. That's the new packaging law that's passed. That they're gonna start, I believe rebates are in 2000.
Yes.
I think we got a couple more.
Yeah, do you want to read those?
Yes.
First one?
The first one is from Mary Allen, and she would like to know, will you be creating educational and outreach materials to the towns with transfer stations? Residents are starting to ask what will change.
Yes, we've actually have in development a placard right now. It's a really neat tool. What it's going to do is it lists all the acceptable waste that the facility takes. You know, we don't take tires, we don't take lithium batteries and that type of thing. But then it gives a spot, which we're gonna provide the label, for the town to put their own label, because they might take certain things. This way they can use it at their transfer stations as one item. So we might say that we don't take these items in the MSW, but the transfer station might take those items and separate them into different places. So that is in the works right now. We actually have posters of what's unacceptable waste and what is acceptable, and we have these placards that are being done. Yeah. That's part of my visits to the transfer stations. We have a lot of example material, and we're just trying to take what the core is and everything and get it into one document. That's that in the top 5 items, that's probably been a request. It was at least in the first 2 items for what the members are looking for.
Thank you, Mary.
And the next question is from an anonymous attendee, and they are asking what items will be accepted at the site. Will all plastics be accepted or only number 2 plastics?
So the best way to describe this is we will accept, picture everything you put into your household garbage can in your kitchen. We'll accept all that. What we don't want is yard waste. We don't want tires. We don't want hazardous materials, oils, lithium batteries. Every town has a contract and a list of unacceptable items, but unacceptable items are mostly bulkies and hazardous material. Other than that, if it's MSW, we are going to take it in, we are going to sort it and process it.
I'm probably asking about whether I can do recycled. Cause that was
Oh.
a big change.
Go ahead and answer the plastics.
Yeah, we will be recycling certainly more than just number 2s. I believe right now we're only 1s, 2s, 5s, and potentially 3 through 5s. And then we're working on solutions to expand that beyond that wherever we can. But on day 1, that's the expectation.
Hard to hear you.
I'm sorry. We will be recycling more than just number 2s. It's initially we have 1, 2s, and 5s. Because they're ready outlets for that. We potentially can expand that to 3 through 5s. And then we're working with partners to expand that even further, but we have line of sight to the I'll call it 1, 2s, and 5s.
Thank you. Next. Oh, go ahead.
You may have already said this, but let me hear it. Do you consider it helpful if people do separate at all before they send it? I mean,
So the question is it helpful for municipalities to separate out their recyclables before it gets to us? Want to answer that, Mike?
I can take the facility is designed to take mixed waste, so we do not expect or require people to separate, is the short answer.
So there's no additional benefit to it. But again,
Unless you're
it's
selling it elsewhere.
What's that?
Unless they're selling it elsewhere.
Well, oh, of course, yes.
and then, when you accept the trash, do you measure it by weight?
Yes,
Okay. And you charge the town by weight?
correct.
All right, we have another question about it?
Yes. Mary Allen asks, I may have missed it, but will this MSW town meeting be available as a recording? If so, how will we get access to the recording?
Yes, it's recorded and it will be on our YouTube page probably within the next day.
So I thought I heard say that if towns do separate out recyclables, they get a better rate, is that correct?
They can sign a recycling.
So the question was, will towns get a better rate if they do separate out their recyclables prior to sending it to us?
So for any town that already has any municipal waste hub member that already has a contract with us has a special tip rate for bringing in their recyclables.
So it is in the town's interest to do that.
Yeah, so it does not impact the rate that we charge for MSW. We have agreed to effectively not charge in excess of a certain amount for taking single stream, which is below what I'll call the market is the short answer.
But each town has to look at that, and the economics of that, and the cost of separating that out is higher than the discount. That, that would be a different equation than a town that the cost of receiving those separated out is cheaper. So each town is gonna be, look at that equation individually.
I know Hamden does have a place for recyclables, so assume that gives Hamden a little better price. It's not a huge process, you just, when you go to the transfer station.
So again, it's each town's process, they have to determine whether that works for them. The question was, Hamden's already separating when they drop stuff off, so that would be a good deal for them. And again, that would be Hamden's decision to make. But yes, that discounted rate can be valuable to the community if it works right for them. Thanks. Any other?
We're all online.
Yeah, yeah. Any questions from the board? Any comments from the board?
Mike, how will you separate now, you, from lack of a better term, you're kind of like in a soft opening right now. You're taking in and separating, working out the quirks and that, how will you get different towns to bring in different things, so different laws, so you can
Yes.
separate it?
Yes, but just to be clear, what we're doing is, so because the bypass has been going on so long and the shutdown, a lot of stuff that shouldn't be in the waste ended up back in the waste.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. We're bringing things in, spreading them out and saying, like, we're seeing a lot, not a lot, we're seeing tires and mattresses again. We're seeing construction. And so we're a transfer station. It's a great opportunity rather than get it through the equipment, break it, plug it up. We're going back to those towns and saying, we gotta work this out. We gotta put another bin in for this. This stuff is made back in waste. So we're just analyzing everything, but it's also a good opportunity to see how much fiber we waste, how much plastic we waste. We're actually still doing construction with MERT. So the MERT, the nice thing about this facility is it ran for 7 months. We know where the bottlenecks are. And there's like 3 major pieces of equipment going in that are being changed for where those bottlenecks were. One of the most amazing things that's gonna happen is a bag opener. We didn't have a bag opener before, we had a tear. And so now we're gonna be able to see all the material that's coming in once it's open through the bag. So yeah, we're more, just to be totally transparent, we're more spreading everything out right now to see. A lot of needles are, there's been a lot of needles in the back in the waste. So we're kind of looking at that stuff, then we're going back out to our communities, seeing what we can do to get that stuff back in the waste, especially the lifting batteries.
And the other thing is, can you send me up the do's and don'ts? Because you send them to the town, but I don't receive that out of it. So I can, when we get ready to start up, I can have my people in the university kind of send out, so we can have, when the students come back, we can have some way of kind of educating on what not to throw in here and what not to throw in there.
I definitely will do that, but I will tell you, we're taking your waste now,
Yeah.
and we've been doing it for over a month, and you haven't made the naughty list. So, we're doing very good.
Come on, we're not.
I get the list. So, And I haven't had to send you an email, but I will send that to you, but I know your waste is coming to us now. So,
Great example of that the importance of the waste characterization studies that they're doing. Is the city of Bangor is in a side load scenario where we have bins, everything gets loaded to the side with hydraulic arms. We've had over 15 tires in the last month in our waste, and we didn't even think tires would fit in the bins. We're discovering that people are fitting them in and they're ending up there where they can't be processed. So we put out a social media post just to try to educate our residents. So that's an important, this is an important step in the process. And having waste on the floor allows us to test all the, I say us, but allows Kevin's team to test each of those optical sorters and, as they get put in, tweak them and adjust them so that they're at optimal capacity. Thank you.
we have one more question. I think we've answered it, but we could just revisit it.
An anonymous attendee would like to know, do you wish to have the towns go to single stream instead of pulling the recyclables out?
So, once again, like Aaron said, that's totally the town's decision, whatever's most economical for the town. Either way, we are gonna pull recycles out of their waste and they are gonna get a report on how much recycles came out of their waste. But that is totally a decision on the town, and what their economics are for that.
Thank you, Mike. We have another question.
Sorry, two more. And then I think
Okay.
that's it. Do you know if you'll be able to do anything with glass and bottles?
So the question is what will we be doing with glass and bottles at the facility? I'll turn that over to Kevin.
Right now, the glass and bottles come into our facility, obviously come in trucks, very packers on the floor, they're crushed. That goes into our glass and grit, we call it, and that is usually purposed out. So we do get credit for that, and that's where the glass is.
And until the digester is up and running, the food waste, would that just get landfilled?
So the question is, what happens to the food waste until the digesters are fully online?
Yeah, until the digesters are online, the food waste will go to the landfill, but we are gonna try to pull out some of the fiber. And recycle that through traditional methods.
Back to Jackie's question about the construction debris, out of state waste. I think perhaps what she was getting at was that waste was coming in from out of state and being treated then as in-state waste. And she was wondering how to avoid that.
So the question is going back to Jackie Elliott's question about the treatment of in-state waste versus out-of-state waste.
So I'll do my best to answer that. I'm somewhat privy to it. The state did, and actually you're privy to it. The state did close that loophole a little bit. So now that when waste comes in, the processor can't have more residual than what's been a certain percentage of what the state generates. So we will always ask the origin, and we not supposed to accept any out of state waste. That's the best controls we have. But I do know the state was able to close that loophole quite a bit by a rule or a law they passed on residuals. Because what that loophole was, is you're right, stuff was coming in, being tipped on the floor, and then whatever it was processed, it was residual that process. So now they wrote the rule against those residuals.
But you're talking about,
So resource, they did carve out an exception for resource. And they were taking a lot of construction demo debris, oversized bulky waste. So that's not in the study, so, but there is this state definition where they get to call anything processed. There, once it's processed, it becomes quote unquote main waste. But if you're saying that you're only taking in a study, but even though it's now classified as main waste, I don't think that qualify for what you can.
But you were asking about the C and D, and I know there's been something on C and D residual, but it's just not in front of me.
I think that's her question.
All right, I think we've wrapped up the question and
I
answers.
just got one more. Right when you said that. All right. An anonymous attendee says, I am confused about what your transportation division offers to towns that are a far distance from the Hamden facility.
Well, so I speak from experience somewhat. I used to run a trucking company, and the most efficient use of a truck is to be running loaded at all times. That's not always possible. The further you get away from a waste facility, quite often you struggle to get those efficiencies because you can't run both ways loaded. This, because we control these trucks, because we're going to have recyclable material going out of our facility, we'll be able to coordinate the movement of recyclables out, waste in, and hopefully get those trucks loaded as much as possible. That's the goal. Mike, you might be able to expand on that.
There's so you gotta look at this as a whole too, we did a survey, a very extensive survey to all our members. And what we found is there's a lot of synergies, and there's a term called milk runs. So we have members that want to do certain things, but they can't have a vendor come pick it up, or they can't have a vendor service them because they don't get enough. And to get enough of that material, they don't have a big enough footprint to get a trailer load. So we are not just looking at the process of MSW. We are looking, when it comes to the hub and spoke models, all kinds of opportunities. Can we do a mattress collection? Mattresses are a big deal. There's a new place opening in Scarborough for recycling. Can we do a quarterly milk run collection of mattresses? Mattresses get very wet and get heavy, and it tends on being more expensive. So the transportation division is a whole focus on all kinds of opportunities and logistics. So it just depends on what that town is doing and what their needs are. It's just not one single transaction adding this transportation to bring MSW to us. Also, we have to bring our residual down to Norwalk. And we have so many members down that way that are paying haulers to bring their stuff back up to us to process. Now we can look at those synergies and save those municipalities. Transportation was one of the top things on the list when we did our survey, that there's a need, and then a need to be able to process more material that they might have to put in their MSW right now, just because they can't generate enough because they don't have the footprint to have a vendor come get it.
Thank you for that question. I think we're going to wrap it up now. Yeah. Thank you so much. We appreciate all the participation. That's a huge benefit to have those questions asked both online and in person, because it allows everybody to understand this process that much more. So thank you for being interactive. Thank you for participating. And thank you for sharing this, this news with us today, the update today. And look forward to more updates in the future as we get everything online and start doing everything that we promised. Thank you very much. We'll close out the meeting.
Yep, just a couple of housekeeping things. We do have a board meeting scheduled. But we're going right into executive session. I mean, I'm gonna ask the board to approve the minutes, because I need minutes for some things that I'm doing. But other than that, we're going to executive session and talking with our partner here. So I'm gonna leave the link open for our board meeting. I just use the one link. And it's gonna be, the camera's gonna be staying on my poster on the executive session. So.
Well, thank you. We want to do a bio break here before we. Good. We good, Barbara?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. So I'm going to call a special board meeting, a special board of directors meeting to order at 11 a.m. And the first thing we're going to do is approve the agenda. Going to go to the agenda. All right. Forward, you're going to consider the minutes of the April 23rd, 2025 regular quarterly meeting of the board.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion and a second. Any comments on the meeting minutes? No, all in favor? Excellent, it's unanimous. We have, an executive session. I'll take a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make that motion pursuant to one MRS section 405(6)E to consult with Municipal Waste Hub legal counsel regarding contractual rights and duties.
Second. Second, excellent. So we will now go into executive session. And Barbara, can you can anyone stuck around, thank you for sticking this out. We are going to take action as a result of the executive session. I will read a resolution, a proposed resolution for the board. Resolved that Municipal Waste Hub is hereby authorized to, one, enter into a purchase agreement and operating service agreement to effect a transaction to acquire the C&D site wastewater treatment facility and related assets at the former mill site in Jay, Maine. And two, execute, deliver such agreements and other documents as the authorized signing board member or officer may deem necessary or appropriate in order to fully effect this transaction. All the foregoing being collectively referred to herein as the transaction documents. And further resolve that board member Robert Butler and any officer of Municipal Waste Hub acting singly hereby is authorized to execute and deliver each of the transaction documents on behalf of the Municipal Waste Hub on such terms and conditions as he or she may approve, his or her signature thereon to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval, and to take all such further actions as he or she may deem necessary or appropriate in order to implement this resolution and the transactions contemplated hereby. So I will take a motion to move that resolve.
So made.
Second,
Yes, second.
any comments or discussion? All in favor?
Oh, do we need to do a roll call or not, because we don't have a board member anymore?
Okay. All in favor, okay, it looks like we are unanimous, thank you. Do we have any other business that we need to attend to? All right, I'll take a motion to close this special board meeting.
So made.
Second.
Motion and a second, we are hereby closing out our special board meeting. Thank you, everyone, for attending today.